Hey everybody, happy Saturday. I apologize for my appearance. I just came out of the yard and I've been mowing some grass and weed eating, and I was thinking while I was riding around on my mower that I saw a post this week that inspired me, so I thought I would share it on here, and then that got me to thinking I'll just share my musical journey. But the post was, I don't play music because I think I'm good at it. I play music because I just simply want to be a part of it. And that couldn't sum up any better my thoughts on playing this wonderful instrument. I grew up loving music. Early age, I remember listening to vinyl on my mom and dad's big wooden console stereo in the living room. At the time, they mostly had the 60s and 70s country that they would play. I grew up through my elementary school years and middle school years and high school years listening to popular music of the 70s, classic rock of the 70s, and then as I got into the 80s, a lot of the same, but also some of the 80s country and on. So I like a variety of music, all kind of music, from the old classic country of 60s, 70s to the country of 80s and 90s, and not as much today, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But loved the popular music back when I was in junior high school and in high school. I like beach music that you can shag to, R&B music, blues, so a lot of different variety, and to me music is mood. It depends on my mood as to what I want to listen to or play. But it goes back and forth. I really don't necessarily always have a favorite. It just depends on the day. But for me in my musical journey, I grew up playing sports. I grew up riding motorcycles, dirt bikes. I love sports. I love playing sports. I love watching sports. I wasn't the best at sports. I was also a very small kid, so my ability athletically was limited just from my size at the time. And I was always one of those people that if I couldn't be good at something, I really didn't want to do it, and I didn't really want to show people the lack of my ability, if you will. And so I played rec sports, didn't really play anything else at the time, but loved it nonetheless. But I also love music, and I was about 13 years old, I think, and I told my mom, I want to learn how to play guitar. So she said, okay. And I can't remember if she rented me a guitar or if she bought a guitar, but nonetheless, I had a guitar, and she bought me some lessons. I don't know how many she bought. I don't even know if it was one at a time, but I do know that I probably went to less than a handful. So I started going to these guitar lessons, and at 13, I realized, this is going to take too much work. This is going to take too much time. I don't want to do this. It's too hard, and I'm not very good at it. So let me just give it up, throw it away, and I'll forget about it. Well, as I got a little bit older, I started to regret that because my love of music never went away. And I started thinking, why did I quit guitar lessons when I was 13 years old? Why did I not just stick with it? Well, I was 13. Obviously, it's a maturity issue. It wasn't natural for me to be musically inclined, so it was going to take work and effort and dedication, which I wasn't willing to give. Fast forward, many years later, I'm still in my mind regretting that I gave up playing a musical instrument, and I'm married. I don't know how long into my marriage I was, and my wife of 38 years next month hears this all the time, me saying, I want to learn how to play a musical instrument. I wish I'd have never quit guitar when I was 13. I want to learn how to play a musical instrument. I want to learn how to play the drums. Over and over, she would hear this, and she called my bluff on it. She secretly arranged, this was 6 or 7 years ago, the time's going fast, so I can't remember. I'm north of 55 maybe at the time, so 6 years ago. I'll be 61 next week. 6 years ago, next month, as a part of our anniversary, she secretly arranges a drum lesson with one of her co-workers' husbands who had a band at the time and played drums. So we're riding around one Saturday morning out running errands, and she says, I need to go over here to this storage building and pick something up, or whatever she told me why we needed to go by there. And so we drive into this storage facility. A locked gate, had a code to get in. We start walking through a tunnel or a hallway down to a storage building. I said, what are we going to get? She would never tell me. She said, you'll see when we get there. I said, okay. Trusted her. So we get there, we walk in, and there's a whole musical studio. Drums, microphones. You could tell a band had been practicing there. And there was a gentleman there to meet us. And he said, hey, my name is Mike Smith. I'm here to teach you how to play drums. I said, really? Okay. So I sit down behind this drum kit, his drum kit, totally intimidated. And he starts to instruct me. You know, I was there maybe 30, 45 minutes, whatever. Totally intimidated, totally frustrated, appreciative of his time, but thinking to myself, I can't do this. This is not going to work. I'm not going to be able to do this. Too much going on. How am I supposed to keep up with all this stuff? And so, you know, walked away there a little bit frustrated, but again, very appreciative of his time. And I was certainly thankful for my wife, Michelle, of arranging that for me, to care that much to do that. And as we're driving home, I'm like, you know, the first thought in my mind when I was back there behind that kit that day was, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to keep going. I'm going to quit. And then I thought back, you said you'd never quit again. You said when you were 13 years old, you regretted quitting guitar lessons. And so I had this mental battle with myself that, you know what, you're not going to quit. So we went to the music store and I got a little practice pad, because one thing about drums is that you got to learn rudiments first, or try to learn rudiments. I certainly don't know all the rudiments and I can't perform all the rudiments, but that's another story. Nonetheless, I made up my mind right there. I wasn't going to quit a second time. So I got a practice pad and started beating on it a little bit. And Michelle said, let's go to the music store. I don't know how much longer. Well, it wasn't much longer, maybe a week longer. We're going to the music store. She said, I'm going to buy you a set of drums for our anniversary, or just buy you a set of drums. You're going to do what? You're going to buy me a set of drums? I mean, our house is quiet. The kids are gone. They're doing well. They're gone, doing their own thing. You're going to buy me a set of drums to put in our house? Yeah, I'm going to buy you a set of drums. Not this set. It was another set. So she bought me a set of drums. I said, where are we going to put these drums? She said, well, that back bedroom, spare bedroom back there. I said, you're going to buy me a set of drums, and we're going to put it in the back spare bedroom. Yeah. Now, what kind of woman says that? What kind of wife says that? One that loves her husband and cares about her husband and believes in her husband and knows that he really wants to do something, and she's going to support that no matter what it meant. Now you can see I've migrated out to the garage. That's a whole nother story. But I started in the back bedroom of our house. And once I decided that I wasn't going to quit, that meant I had to do something on them every day. So she's heard drums almost every day of her life for the last 6 years. What an incredible woman that loved me that much, that was going to support me that much to do this. I couldn't have done it without her. No way. So I practice and go back to my personality. If I can't be good at something, I don't want people to see it. So why all these videos? Why have I played in a live band in front of people? I had to convince myself that it doesn't matter what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, there's always going to be somebody better. So I had to get over that mental hurdle. And I'm still getting over that mental hurdle, but by continuing to put stuff out there, it helps me day by day. I know that there are people that can play it better. Just went to Nashville not too long ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and I saw all these musicians playing in those bars and clubs. I could have let that intimidate me because they were so much better than I am. but it didn't intimidate me. It inspired me to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep getting better. And that's the thing. You never arrive. You just try to be better tomorrow than you were today. And that's really my goal. I can't tell you the adrenaline rush you get when you actually make sounds that sound like the music that you grew up listening to, especially if you loved music. Pretty incredible feeling. And to be able to play with other live musicians, we practice in this garage now, and part of a reformation of a band that I'm working on, and hopefully that we can get out and about. But I've been able to meet some incredible people, incredible musicians along my path and my journey that I would have never met otherwise, that are my friends today, outside of music. And it's been a labor of love. I don't know how many hours my butt has been on this throne to get to a very average level of competency, to at least be on time with a lot of the stuff that I hear. I'm not a musician. I don't read music. I just play what I hear. Doing covers, that's harder, because if you miss in a cover, even if you're on time, it doesn't sound exactly right. So I try to do the best I can, but I know I miss stuff, and that's okay. Playing live is a little bit easier if you miss something, because nobody really knows as long as you stay on time. It still sounds okay. You'll try not to miss too much. Biggest thing about drums is time and effort, learning the rudiments, and just the limb separation. Learning to wire your brain that your right hand and your right foot don't have to work in conjunction. They work off different times. Same thing with your left foot. I always used to say I was the best steering wheel drummer around, but there's one caveat: you don't have to use your feet when you're driving. So it's not as easy as it looks. But that's my musical journey. I'm going to keep playing. I hope to continue playing well up into my senior years. I hope it'll keep me cognitively sharp, as well as hand-eye coordination. Help keep that sharp. So keep following this channel. So far I got it about 20,000 views in over 9 hours of views. So keep following along. It won't be perfect, but maybe it'll inspire you to actually do what you want to do, even if you're not the best at it. Hope everybody has a great Saturday.